leap of faith. Remember, I'm decomposing the problem. I don't want to kind of write a load of code in here. That just does the job. It just finds an X and Y and places it on there. But I do know I'm going to have to put some more code in. But really, to find out if there's something already existing on a particular place, I could do with a separate function that just does that job. It just looks for something that is there. So I'm going to say if the space is occupied. And this can be a Boolean value. It's going to say true if there is something on it. And what it needs to know is what the grid is. And it needs to know the position, the X and Y. So it's got the grid and it's got the X and Y value of what we're looking for on the grid. And if there is something there, it's going to say it's already occupied, try somewhere else. And if there is nothing there, if any is 0, then it's going to place the chest or the bandit there. So that's the idea behind it. And it's quite a common piece of programming where I set the value equal to false and then I keep going until it changes to true. So I'm going to set the value to false. What I'm going to do is try to place it on there. So I'm going to say if the grid at yx, remember this is backwards, that is the hardest thing you're going to have to think about, is backwards. If the grid at yx is not equal to 0, so if there isn't a character, if there isn't a 0 on that location, okay, we're going to say that that space is occupied by setting valid equal to true. So the space is occupied if there's not a 0 there. So going back to here, if I looked at this point, there's not a 0 there, it's a T or a P or a B. The space is occupied, so I'm not going to place anything there. If I look here, if it's a 0, then I'm going to place something on my board. So that's the logic behind that. So what I really need to do now is just return the value. Oh, I've got value and valid. Let's just do valid. I'm just going to return valid. So valid is either going to be true or false. So if there is an item on the board, it's going to say the space is occupied. If there's a 0, it's going to say the space is okay to put things on. So I'm going to run through this now. So the first thing is I'm going to generate my X and Y. Then I'm going to pass them to here to see if there's anything on there. So this is going to be a while loop because it's going to do it until, because I may do it once and it'd be okay. I may have to do it 4 or 5 times depending on the number of bandits and chests I've got on there. So I may be doing this many, many times. So while the space is occupied, so if that is true, if the space is occupied, and what I need to do is send in these values, grid X and Y. So while that space is occupied, all I need to do is regenerate my X and Y. Let's just indent that. So the logic is find an X and Y value. If there's something at that place, find a different X and Y value and keep doing that until that space isn't occupied. There's a 0 there, and if there's a 0 there, what we're going to do is put the T on. So let's save that. Run the program and let's see if it puts the T's in. There you go. So it's always got 4 T's. Let's just, thinking I was going to up the number of chests to, I don't know, 20. We're bound to get occurrences. So this might take a little longer to actually put things on, but we should always have 20. Because it's not putting a T on a place where there's already a T. So 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Let's go mad and let's fill it. So this really should fill every single space. Might take a while. There we go. Perfect. So let's put that back to a reasonable number, 4. And as I said, this is just going to be exactly the same for placing the bandits. So I'm actually just going to nick the code. Paste it in there. And instead of putting a T on, I'm going to put a B on. So now I should have placed my bandits and my treasure chests. So if I run the program again, there you go. I've got 2 bandits, 4 chests. Was that what I said I needed? Oh, I needed 3 bandits. Can I see 3? 1, 2, 3. Okay, so let's do it so that it's 50-50. So every square should be filled with either a T or a B. Might take a while. And there should be an even number. If you want to count, pause the video, count them up, but there should be 50 of each. So now I've got a method of placing bandits and chests on my grid. It's a little bit strange. At the moment, remember I started off before the videos began saying I wanted to create a robust program. This is not robust because, for example, I've got 4 chests and 3 bandits, that's 7 in total. But if I just do a 2x2 grid, 4, I'm going to run into an error because I'm trying to place 7 items into 4 spaces. And if I was asking a person to give me those pieces of information, it's just in an endless loop. If I was asking a person to give me those bits of information, let's run the program again, then they could essentially crash my program like this. So I need to make my program a little bit more robust than it is, so that errors can't creep in if I ask a person to give me these numbers. But we'll deal with that towards the end. We need to get the game working and moving before we think about making it robust. So at the moment we've got a game that draws a grid, creates a grid, and randomly place chests and bandits on it. Hopefully you understand. The only difficulty you might have is with this grid YX instead of the other way round, X and Y. It's because we are dealing with the rows as we're going along. The row is the first value. If you remember in one of our videos when we switched the index and the index 2 round, we got problems. So we need to know how the grid is being built up in the memory of the computer. Again, we're doing some computational thinking there. All of this is basically computational thinking. It's nicely decomposed. I think I can hear my computer whining because it's still operating. Yeah, I need to kill the program to stop the fan working. But we're decomposing all the problems into small problems. We're just solving the problem whether a space is occupied. We're just putting the T's on. We're just putting the B's on. Yep. Really what we need to do now is position the player at the start. So we'll look at that in the next video.